Welcome to the Ad Expert Podcast. Today, we're plunging into a question that, well, it definitely stirs intense debate and maybe a fair bit of anxiety across the digital marketing landscape. That question is buying backlinks SEO suicide or smart strategy in 2025? Our mission in this deep dive, it's really to give you a clear, concise shortcut to being well-informed on this notoriously complex subject. We're going to unpack the official rules, the industry's surprising reality, and the very real stakes involved. Our insights for this discussion, they come directly from the extensive research and expertise of Ad Expert. They're a leading online marketing and web development agency based out in Los Angeles, serving clients in places like Woodland Hills, Calabasas, Encino, Sherman Oaks, Burbank. You get the idea, the local LA market. The services cover Google Ads, SEO, local SEO, social media, web development, the whole package. And specifically, we're drawing from an insightful article on this exact topic written by Sam Shrafi, who's Ad Expert's founder and marketing strategist. Okay, let's unpack this then.
Officially, Google's policies seem pretty unambiguous, painted in stark black and white. But in practice, the reality of link building feels far more intricate, shaded in grays, and as we'll discover, potentially perilous.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating here is that while Google's stance has remained, rock solid for years, the industry's response to it is anything but straightforward. It's complicated. And this raises a really crucial question. Why do so many SEO professionals still choose to navigate this inherently risky territory, seemingly against, clear warnings?
And Google's stance is crystal clear, isn't it? What exactly do their spam policies say about buying links? Can you break that down?
Sure. Their position is unequivocal. Google's spam policies explicitly state that paying for links with the intent to manipulate search rankings is a direct violation of their rules. Simple as that. This specifically includes exchanging money, goods, or services for what I call do-follow links. Those are the really powerful links that pass PageRank and directly influence search engine results. It also covers, engaging in link-for-link exchanges purely for SEO benefit. These are all flagged as manipulative practices, basically stuff designed to unfairly boost rankings.
Okay, so if a payment is involved, does that mean Google actually sanctions certain kinds of paid links, like if they're disclosed properly?
Precisely. That's the key distinction. Google does allow paid links, but only if they include a rel nofollow or rel sponsored tag. These tags are absolutely crucial. They act as a signal to Google saying, hey, this link shouldn't influence search rankings. It neutralizes any manipulative intent. The real problem arises when those tags are, conveniently omitted. If you ignore these rules, the consequences can be severe. Your site could face penalties through algorithmic filters or even manual actions from a Google reviewer, and this means your content could be severely demoted or even entirely removed from search results. That's a massive gut punch for anyone relying on organic traffic.
Right. It sounds like a really clear warning. Yet here's the paradox that so many SEOs seem to grapple with. Despite Google's unequivocal rules, it's almost like an open secret in the industry that link buying just keeps happening. Why? Why are so many willing to risk Google's wrath, even when the rules are so clear?
It really is a pervasive practice, and the data, it starkly illustrates this. According to Search Engine Land, a staggering 92% of SEOs expect their competitors are buying links. 92%.
Wow.
And it gets better. A survey by Authority Hacker found that 74% of link builders themselves actually admit to purchasing links. So this isn't just about bending the rules a bit. It really speaks to a fundamental tension in the SEO world, doesn't it? You've got this desire for immediate competitive advantage clashing head-on with long-term ethical sustainability. It's a high-stakes gamble, often fueled by that, everyone else is doing its mentality, even when Google's algorithms are constantly getting smarter at detecting manipulation.
Yeah, those numbers are genuinely astonishing. It just seems so counterintuitive to take such a high risk. Is it just about the extreme competition, or is there something deeper, maybe psychologically, going on for the SEOs making this choice?
Yeah. Well, the motivation often boils down to the sheer intensity of competition in certain verticals. It's fierce out there. Think about ultra-competitive industries, finance, insurance, gambling, even some big e-commerce niches. In those spaces, buying links is frequently perceived as maybe the only viable way to level the playing field and compete effectively, or at least that's the perception. And these aren't small-time operations either. We're talking about SEO experts in these verticals often allocating thousands, literally thousands of dollars every single month just for link building. This is frequently done through specialized agencies or maybe guest posts arranged via PR firms. It's a significant financial commitment, and it's driven by the belief, right or wrong, that it's a necessary evil to gain that elusive edge.
That level of investment, It definitely implies a high expectation of return.
Hmm.
And you mentioned that sometimes these paid links do appear to work, at least initially.
Yeah.
What does that success look like and what makes it so alluring?
Yes, exactly. There are scenarios where paid links may appear successful, at least for a time. This typically happens when the links are really well embedded within genuinely high-quality editorial content. And critically, it's on high authority, niche-relevant sites. When these links look contextual, when they appear as natural, organic mentions, they have a much better chance of slipping past Google's detection, well, initially anyway. And this initial period of perceived success, where rankings might briefly climb, it creates a powerful illusion. It makes the investment feel worthwhile, and that feeling fuels the cycle of continued risk-taking. And that's precisely why SEOs are willing to spend, on average, $508.95 for a single high-quality backlink. That figure comes from the 2025 State of Link Building report by Editorial.
Well, over $500 for one link.
Yeah. They are, in essence, betting quite a bit on this potentially temporary advantage. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really highlights this perception of necessity. It's not some casual purchase. That price tag is a testament to the immense pressure in these competitive niches. It shows a willingness to invest heavily in what often amounts to a pretty precarious, maybe short-term illusion of authority, all in the hope of outwitting Google and their competitors, basically. It just underscores those intense market pressures.
So if you're shelling out over $500 for one link, you definitely want it to count. But what are the inherent risks? The things that could turn that big investment into just a money pit, or worse, trigger a penalty. It really sounds like you could be pouring money into something that Google just ignores, or worse, actively penalizes you for. It's like a high wire act.
Absolutely. Buying backlinks can truly be like setting a ticking time bomb under your website. The risks are substantial and they come in various forms. First, and perhaps least damaging, Google might simply ignore low quality or suspicious backlinks altogether. This means your investment is rendered completely useless. You spent the money for zero SEO value. Poof, gone.
Okay, so that's money wasted. But it could be worse.
Oh, much worse. You could face manual actions from a Google reviewer or algorithmic downgrades. Search Engine Land has explored this in detail. Imagine the gut punch of seeing your carefully built online presence just vanish overnight. That's the very real consequence of ignoring these warnings. It happens.
And it's not just your own site that's at risk, right? I remember reading something about the source of the link maybe being devalued too. How does that work?
That's a really critical point. Some SEO pros believe Google tends to target the link sources, the sellers, maybe even more aggressively than the buyers. So this means a site that essentially makes a business out of selling links could suddenly be devalued by Google. And if your backlink is sitting on that site, well, its value could plummet right along with the source, dragging your site down with it. Beyond that, there's algorithmic filtering. If your backlink profile becomes, let's say, bloated with too many manipulative or just irrelevant links, you'll likely experience ranking drops. Google sees it as noise. Another huge red flag, very common in paid link strategies, is anchor text over optimization. If multiple backlinks all use the exact same keyword-rich anchor text like every link says best payday loans, Google's algorithms see that as incredibly unnatural and manipulative.
Okay.
The safer approach, the much safer approach, is always to have a diversified backlink profile with lots of branded anchors, or just more natural contextual anchor text.
So what does this all mean for, someone listening who manages their website? It paints a picture where the potential downsides seem like they could completely wipe out any perceived short-term gains, maybe even leaving you worse off than when you started.
Exactly. And this raises that important question about strategy and, frankly, discernment. It's definitely not a blanket yes or no to buying links. It demands a really nuanced approach, extreme caution, and a deep understanding of Google's increasingly sophisticated detection methods. AdExpert actually provides some very clear guidelines for those who are maybe considering this risky path, stressing that, look, not all paid links are created equal.
Okay, so for those who might still be tempted, maybe they feel they have to explore this path. What are the do's and don'ts to at least minimize the harm and maybe increase the chances of not getting caught?
Right. Well, the do's really focus relentlessly on quality and relevance. That's the key. You should aim to only acquire links from truly authoritative, highly relevant sites, think reputable blogs in your niche, or industry news sites that demonstrably have real engaged traffic. The core idea is to treat these paid links almost like editorial investments. You need to ensure they are placed naturally within well-written, genuinely valuable content that actually offers insights to readers. Google is far less likely to flag a link that appears organic and provides real value to users, right?
That makes sense. Treat it like earning it, even if you paid. And the don'ts, I imagine that's where most of the irreversible damage happens.
Absolutely. The biggest don't, the number one thing to avoid, is buying from link farms or private blog networks, PBNs, as they're known. These are networks of low-quality sites, often with really thin, maybe even machine-generated content, and they have virtually no genuine authority. They exist purely to sell links. AdExpert, referencing a guide from RhinoRank, flat out warns that this is among the very fastest ways to earn a Google penalty. Don't do it.
Okay, avoid PBNs. What else?
Also, never buy links in bulk or try to rush the process. Sudden, unnatural spikes in the number of backlinks pointing to your site, especially if they're from unrelated domains, are huge red flags for Google. They scream manipulation. This will inevitably lead to scrutiny and potentially a penalty. There's a great quote from an expert that really sums it up. If you go for bulk, you're dead. If you go to quality, you take home authority.
If you go for bulk, you're dead. If you go for quality, you take home authority. That really encapsulates it, doesn't it? It underscores that perceived quality is paramount, even if you're operating in these gray areas. But still, the fundamental question hangs in the air. Should you ever actually buy backlinks? It just seems like such an enormous gamble.
Yeah, it really is. And Ahrefs, as cited by AdExpert in their article, offers a very practical scenario-based breakdown. And they consistently stress, look, buying backlinks should never form the core of any long-term SEO strategy. Why? Because the inherent risks almost always outweigh any fleeting short-term gains you might possibly see.
Okay, so what about someone just starting out in SEO or maybe launching a brand new website? What's the advice for them?
For those new to SEO, the advice is pretty blunt. Just stay away. Don't even think about it. The margin for error is simply too slim, and you're far, far more likely to inflict serious damage on your site's future than achieve any sustainable benefit. Now, if you're running, say, a short-term or maybe even a disposable site, perhaps, for a very specific limited-time campaign, Ahrefs says it's a maybe. But even then, you still risk completely burning your domain, basically making it toxic and unusable for any future projects. So, still risky.
But what about those super competitive niches we talked about earlier? You know, finance, gambling, where the stakes are incredibly high and it feels like everyone else is doing it?
Right. So if you're operating in one of those highly competitive niches, and this is a crucial, and you possess deep, strong SEO knowledge, then Ahrefs puts it in the possibly category, but only if it's done surgically, with extreme caution, and only as a very, very minor part of a much broader, more ethical strategy. It requires a profound understanding of the risks involved in Google's algorithmic nuances. It's expert-level stuff and still risky.
Right.
But let me reiterate. For a truly robust, sustainable, long-term SEO strategy, buying backlinks should never be the core. The risks seriously outweigh any perceived short-term advantages. Full stop.
And this isn't just theoretical risk, is it? We're talking about real-world impact, even on major players. You mentioned the source talks about HubSpot.
Indeed. HubSpot, I mean, they're a household name in digital marketing, right? They experienced significant traffic drops after certain Google algorithm updates. And it was widely believed, based on analysis like the Flock case study cited, that this was due, at least in part, to an over-reliance on maybe aggressive link acquisition and also publishing a lot of broad, sometimes thin content. It's a really stark reminder of how even major, sophisticated brands can be affected by algorithm shifts and potentially problematic backlink profiles.
Wow.
It makes you truly reflect on the fundamental soundness of your own online presence. If a giant like HubSpot can stumble, smaller businesses are definitely even more vulnerable.
Okay, so if buying links is such a minefield, riddled with risk,
Yeah.
what are the smarter, more sustainable alternatives for long-term SEO success? There have to be a better, more ethical way to build genuine authority online, right?
Absolutely. And this is where we really encourage critical thinking, shifting the focus. Instead of constantly looking for shortcuts or ways to game the system, we need to seriously consider how to create such genuine value that it naturally attracts links. These white hat strategies, the ethical ones, they're all about building a lasting reputation and establishing true expertise, not just, acquiring links for the sake of it. Sustainable strategies include things like publishing original research, maybe a definitive industry benchmark report that everyone in your field has to cite, or conducting unique studies, gathering industry insights that position you as a genuine thought leader, content people want to link to.
That sounds like a much more powerful long-term approach.
Yeah.
What other kinds of strategies can help businesses create that kind of compelling content or value that earns links naturally?
Well, another crucial tactic is contributing high-quality guest posts. but not just anywhere. To respected, genuinely authoritative publications within your specific niche. Quality placements matter. Collaborating with well-known influencers or established experts in your field for co-branded content can also be really effective. It generates valuable natural links and boosts your exposure. And think about building useful things. Free tools or calculators, maybe a lead qualification calculator for salespeople or an industry-specific ROI tool. Things that provide genuine utility and become indispensable resources that others will naturally want to reference and link back to.
And digital PR seems to be gaining a lot of traction too, right?
Yeah.
As maybe a more sophisticated way to earn links.
Absolutely. Digital PR is increasingly being seen as maybe the future of effective link building. It moves way beyond simple outreach emails. It's about strategic storytelling, crafting compelling narratives around data or insights. According to that Authority Hacker survey, again, 50% of SEOs now rate digital PR as the single top tactic for link building. Half of them.
That's significant.
It really is. It's all about earning media mentions and getting those natural editorial links through strategic outreach, compelling data, and just genuinely captivating stories. And the beauty is, it's far more sustainable and completely penalty-proof compared to any kind of paid link scheme.
So we've covered a huge amount today, haven't we? From Google's really strict rules to the industry's surprisingly widespread risky practices, and then pivoting toward these safer, far more sustainable strategies. It really boils down to this core tension, the undeniable significant risks of buying backlinks versus the perceived, often fleeting short-term gains, especially in those ultra-competitive niches.
Exactly. And Ad Expert's final take from their article offers such a powerful litmus test. It's a simple question everyone involved in SEO should ask themselves. They suggest asking, would I want a Google engineer personally reviewing my website's backlinks? If the honest answer to that question makes you sweat, even a little bit, you absolutely need to reconsider your strategy immediately. Link building, at the end of the day, it should be about quality, relevance, and creating genuine user value. It shouldn't be about taking quick and dirty shortcuts that could blow up in your face.
That's a fantastic way to frame it. It makes it incredibly personal and practical for every website owner listening. And Ad Expert really emphasizes that core principle in SEO. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It might feel slower initially,
but the truly authoritative and lasting wins. They come from focusing on genuine content, fostering meaningful relationships within your industry, and consistently employing ethical tactics. That's the kind of authority that simply can't be bought. It won't be easily replicated by your competitors, and crucially, it won't get penalized by Google down the line. So the final question really remains for you, the listener, to ponder. Are you currently building a house of cards that could collapse with the very next algorithm update? Or are you consciously laying a solid, unshakable foundation for your online presence in 2025 and well beyond? And if you're perhaps looking for a digital partner who's committed to data-driven success, customized online marketing strategies, and utilizing innovative AI solutions, Ad Expert is your source for expert advice, exceptional service, and achieving impressive results in digital marketing, especially right here in the Los Angeles area. Remember, they serve clients across Woodland Hills, Calabasas, Winnetka, Tarzana, Encino, Sherman Oaks, West Hills, Reseda, Burbank, and Van Nuys. They can definitely help you achieve your online marketing goals and, importantly, avoid those risky shortcuts we've been talking about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We really encourage you to reflect on the insights shared and actively explore those ethical, sustainable, long-term strategies for your own SEO success.